Hello children, welcome back. So, we are continuing with the world of microorganisms too. So we'll discuss in this chapter about health and diseases. About health, hygiene, diseases. Okay. Health is a different term from disease free. When you are said to be healthy, there should not be any defect in your body. Your body should be perfect. All your internal organs are working well. All your functions inside the body are going normally. No defect in the body. No defect in the body. In the body, it can be about physiology. It can be about structure. There should not be any defects. Then you are said to be healthy. But normally this is a very ideal condition, very ideal condition. We are generally in this condition called disease free. Okay, something is defective in the body, but it is not troubling us. That condition is called as disease free. So there may be some defects. Always every organism born will not be born with perfect health. Something inside the body, usually we are exposed to radiations, we are exposed to different pesticides, chemicals are entering our food material. So there are mutations, common mutations that occur in our body before we are born. Okay, when you are in the mother's womb itself, there are some genetic variations. Because of that reasons, no organism is born with a perfect health. There are some defects, but that defects are not causing harm. Defects are there, but not harmful. Okay, something is not functioning properly in the body, but that is not a problem to us. That condition is called as disease free. Okay, what are the factors that contribute to the health? Factors that contribute to health. Factors that contribute to health. For this, first thing that is required is personal and surroundings hygiene. So that means personal hygiene means you should bath regularly, you should remove the waste that like nails are growing, you should remove those nails. Something is depositing in your eyes, that should be removed. Cleaning your nose, cleaning your ears, brushing your teeth regularly, this all is personal hygiene. Okay, using soap, we need to bath every day, sometimes twice. These are all the things that contribute to hygiene of personal hygiene. Surrounding hygiene, we should clean our house, you should not throw garbage here and there. Even if you put the garbage, that should not be exposed to expose it so that flies and all will deposit. Dusting the dusting the benches or whatever furniture is there in your house, windows and all. You need to dust your bed sheets regularly. It's not that every day you're spreading it and sleeping without dusting it when you're sleeping. That also contributes to diseases because your skin cells are shed. Thousands of skin cells are shed. Maybe they are depositing on the bed sheet also. You're sitting on the sofa every day. That sofa should be dusted at least for a few days once. These are all related to surrounding hygiene. You should not throw the litter just outside your wall. That also contributes to flies and mosquitoes and all. Drainage should not be open, and every garbage that is coming in the house should not be dumped into drainage. Drainages all will contribute to personal and surrounding hygiene. Second thing that contributes to health is public health services. Public health services. Public health services means municipal people are coming to take the garbage from our house. Drainages are being cleaned. If you are getting healthy, if you are getting any diseases, immediately there should be a first aid center near to your house, or vaccination should be given for at appropriate age, 1 year, 2 years, 15 years. There are some vaccinations. Those vaccinations are regularly given. All these things. The water that is supplied to the houses is chlorinated, and seen that there is no infection in that water. And when there are so many mosquitoes around, the mosquito fog is spread inside the streets. When there is drainages that are filled with worms and flies and all, those drainages are sprayed with disinfectants. If there is any open garbage, that open garbage is removed and their disinfectant is sprayed. Like this, these all are public services that contribute to health. Next thing is our economic well-being. Economic well-being. What is economic well-being? See, people living in a house should have affordable. They should be affordable for good health, good exercise. What is space for exercise, like that? Okay. See, for example, a person is not earning well to buy vegetables and good fruits, good meat for the home, eggs, milk. This are not affordable for a family. Children living in a family or adults living in a family, that contributes to ill health. Okay. Space for exercise means the person's schedule should not be tight enough. Is working from morning to evenings. Like suppose take daily wage workers, if they are working from morning, okay, they are having very good exercise. If there is a person like who does something like sitting in a place, like from morning to evening they are sitting in a place, after going home they have some domestic work to do, they are not getting time for exercise, that also contributes to ill health. So economical well-being is that they should have good enough money, good enough time, space for doing exercises also is very important. And social well-being is also very important for good health. Social well-being means no one is discriminated. Usually it used to be in present, now it's not a situation, but in previously there used to be untouchable people are not allowed to touch. There is you can see that there is a lot of inequality, like inequality in society. You are going out and you are feeling someone is harassing you that you are low caste. That leads to mental disturbance. And social inequality does not end there. You are going to a workplace, because you are not able to perform well, you are discriminated, or you are not because of your physical condition or your caste, your different color, you are discriminated for various reasons. That leads to mental depression of that person. This mental depression leads to stress, and that also contributes to ill health. Even when you are going with friends, all the friends are not considering you equally. That is also a discrimination. A discrimination at any level can lead to depression. That depression may lead to ill health. Okay. So a better alternative for this kind of depression is equality in society, which we are getting through our constitution. And secondly, a mental build-up of individual in such a way that how to overcome these discriminations is a better way. Okay. So our mental setup should be in such a way that we are able to overcome this discrimination that we face out. Being confident, being active at the work, etc. will help us to overcome this kind of discrimination that we face in our everyday life. Right? With this, we end up the factors that contribute to ill health. If a person is getting disease, how the disease occurs. Okay. Diseases are two types. One is communicable diseases. Second one is non-communicable diseases. Like, for example, communicable diseases. You take the example of malaria is communicated by a vector called mosquito. Mosquito carries it from one person to another person. Okay, you take some of the diseases, some of the infections like ringworm. It easily spreads from one. If you touch that person, that other person will get infected. Okay, you take the common cold cough. When a person with cold coughs or sneezes, the particles which are light in weight stay in the atmosphere. So these lightweight particles are able to move from one location to another location. So immediately when a person sneezes, the heavy particles, all that are coming outside, are dispersed, are settling down there itself. But there are some particles which are light in weight, they are carried along with it, and they are passing through that air and reach the person infected. Okay, if someone spits openly also, that person who is infected spits openly, that spit will dry off. After that, that will turn into particles that flies in air and it is spread. Okay, and you take the diseases like typhoid, diarrhea, these are spread through water. If the water is getting contaminated with this virus, the person who is infected, something from the body like waste material, fecal matter, it can be fecal matter that is mixing with water, something like that. If it enters into water, the water is contaminated without knowledge, the opposite person also drinks the water, that leads to diseases, right? So always the water should be boiled, filtered, boiled and cooled, then only you should drink. And sometimes chlorine tablets are added. Sometimes you can smell that municipal water has some chloride in that. Those chlorine tablets are added to kill the germs that are present inside the water. So communicable diseases are those diseases which spread from one person to another person. Either they are spread through water, or they are spread through air, or they are spread through direct contact. And there are some diseases that are spread through blood transfusion. Blood transfusion, if a person is having a disease that is present in the blood, when that blood is transferred to another person, it is cause of spread. Like it can be blood transfusion, use of syringes, like that. It can also spread through sexual contact. There are some diseases that are spreading through sexual contacts, and these are called as sexually transmitted diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases, and simple word you can call them as STDs. Okay, example for this is AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So these are the different ways by which a infectious disease can pass from one person to another person. Okay, some diseases like typhoid are spread. Okay, one more, mosquitoes also is there. Mosquitoes, some vectors, not only mosquitoes, sometimes flies act as vectors, sometimes mosquitoes act as vectors. By any vector, it can be any vector. So diseases like typhoid, diarrhea spread through water, cough, cold, viruses spread through air, by direct contact, ringworm, dandruff, like these infections are spread by direct contact. And blood transfusion, syringes, whatever blood infection is there, it can be easily transferred from one person to another person by blood transfusion and syringes. And by sexual contact, sexually transmitted diseases are transferred by sexual contact. Example for this is AIDS. Vectors like mosquitoes and flies carry the diseases from one person to another person. So these are the various ways by which communicable diseases spread from one person to another person. What are non-communicable diseases? The diseases which do not spread from one person to another person are called as non-communicable diseases. What are the examples for non-communicable diseases? Some of the diseases are not spread from one person to another person, but stay with the person itself. Like for example, you take any deficiency disease like diabetes or blood sugar sorry, blood sugar I'm saying, blood pressure, this type of diseases, heart attack, heart stroke, some of these diseases are deficiency of hormone like diabetes or deficiency of vitamins. You take the example of scurvy. Scurvy is a situation in which there are so many wounds in the mouth, okay, skin rashes are there. That is because of vitamin C deficiency. Or you can see some of the melanin deficiency causes pellagra, a skin disease in which the skin becomes white because of deficiency of melanin. These are all diseases that are occurring due to deficiency of something in the body, or they can be genetically transferred from parent to progeny, but they are not communicated, okay. They are not communicable because they are not passing from one individual to another individual, right? Now let us go to the next type of classification. Based on the severity of the disease, again the diseases are two types. First one is acute, second one is chronic diseases. Acute disease is a disease that stays in the body for a short time. Chronic disease is a disease that stays in the body for lifetime. It goes away from the body only with the death of the individual, okay. It is only for short time. It stays in the body of organism for long time, sometimes till death, sometimes till death. For example, you take fever, someone is affected with malaria, he get infected for some time. After that, the person uses medicines and all, and that disease is cured. Some of the diseases, for example, we have discussed diabetes. Diabetes, if a person is infected with diabetes, that stays in the body of that organism for lifetime, and after the person dies, till the person dies that disease is with that person only, right? Sometimes acute disease turn into chronic diseases, as we have discussed. Malaria is infected, a person is infected with malaria, that person did not take proper medication, that person did not take proper he did not maintain proper health and hygiene, and he did not take proper food. What happens? The severity of disease increases, okay. Why a disease is caused? Diseases are usually caused due to any pathogen, disease causing organism. Pathogen, disease causing organism. This disease causing organism enters our body. When it enters in our body, that condition is called as infection. This infection, when it is initially entering in our body, it does not harm our body. After entering in our body, it reproduces, and the number of these pathogens will increase. After reaching certain level, at that time only it can cause harm to our body, okay. And this is called as disease. Between infection and disease, there is a time period, okay. That time period is called as incubation period. Incubation period, okay. So when infection occurs, our symptoms are not coming out. You take any symptom, malaria, what are the symptoms? That person will get shivering, cold shivering, temperature will rise at once to 102 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Celsius. So that infection, that symptoms that are seen in the disease do not get exposed until something around 1 week to 10 days. Why? In that time period, the plasmodium that is present inside the body grows, multiplies, it grows in number. When its number increases and it is sufficient enough to cause harm to our body, at that time we feel the symptoms. And this period that is present in between is called as incubation period. And what we need to do when our disease occurs is, we should eat healthy food. Why? Our body has natural immunity, we'll discuss about it next, which can help us to fight diseases. For the immunity to build up, we need to eat sufficient amount of food which is having all the nutrients. A right proper balanced diet should be taken to fight against these diseases, to develop the immunity of our body. And moreover, one is food. Food helps to develop the proper immunity in our body. Second thing is medication is required. This medication kills all these pathogens and decreases its number. When the medication is taken properly and completely, it should not be a partial medication. Doctor has given tablets that should be used for 10 days. So you have used it for 5 days and you have stopped, that will lead to return of disease. So medication should be taken properly. What will happen if you take for 5 days only? On first day some pathogens are killed, second day some pathogens are killed, third day some pathogens are killed, fourth day some pathogens are killed, fifth day some pathogens are killed. What happened? Still there are some microorganisms that are present in our body. Pathogens are there, again they can multiply, again they can divide. There is a chance for reversal of infection. So food and medication and also hygiene. Okay. When the body of individual is very weak, any disease can easily infect that organisms, when individual's body. So to prevent that, the person should maintain proper hygiene, or else there is a chance that any other infection may occur. So these three should be maintained when a person is infected with acute disease. If it is not, if that precaution, these three are not followed, these precautions are not taken, then what happens? It leads to a condition called chronic condition. The person will be infected, and the body becomes weaker, and it leads to death of the person. So that is the reason why patients with malaria are dying. Patients with dengue, it is also an acute disease, but still people die because of lack of proper medication, lack of proper food, and different reasons are present. Different reasons, taking the medications late, all these will contribute to the death of the patients, even with diseases that are well known to us, right? So this is about types of diseases. Diseases are usually caused by organisms called pathogens. Pathogens are disease-causing organisms. Take for example typhoid. Typhoid is caused by a bacteria called Salmonella typhi. If you take the example of cholera, is caused by Vibrio cholerae. You take the example of syphilis, is caused by Trichonympha pallidum. Pneumonia is caused by there are some disease causing microorganisms that cause diseases. These disease causing organisms are called as pathogens, right? So other thing organism is vector. Vector is an organism that carries diseases from one individual to another individual. This is also called as carrier of the disease. Like for example mosquito. Mosquito does not cause malaria. It is only carrying the plasmodium. When it is biting us, when it is biting any infected patients, it takes the blood from a infected patient. So at that time its proboscis and all is exposed to that plasmodium. So when it is infecting a second patient, when it is biting a second patient, before sucking the blood, it releases some liquid. Why? Blood should not clot. Whenever there is any damage to skin, blood will clot immediately. At that time mosquito will not be able to take the blood. So what it will do, it will release the liquid into the body of the individual, then it will suck the blood. So when it is releasing that liquid into that body of the organism, that plasmodium also gets transferred and it causes diseases. You take the example of flies. Flies have feet that is spongy. Those spongy feet, when it is sitting on any garbages, it usually sits on litter. When it is sitting on that litter, what it will carry? It will carry the organisms like Entamoeba histolytica, which causes Entamoeba histolytica is a bacteria that causes amoebic dysentery. Amoebic dysentery. This is a disease in which there is stomach infection, vomitings, motions, diarrhea, all these are there. So this usually it is present in the garbages. When flies sit on that garbage, the feet get stuck to this garbage and that is carried. Whenever you are keeping your food material open, flies carry that and sit on the food. That whatever is there on its feet, it is transferred to our food material. When we eat that, that will be entering in our body, we get infected. So this flies, we saw recently swine flu. For swine flu, pigs are acting as vectors. You saw for Ebola virus, bats are acting as vectors. So these are some of the examples of animals that act. You take for example, I forgot. Okay, different animals act as vectors for different creatures, different pathogens. Diseases are spread by these organisms. The animal that carries the diseases are called as carriers or vectors. They are not infected. These vectors are not infected with the disease, but they transfer, just to transfer from one person to another person. Sometimes human beings also act as vectors. Suppose a person is infected with a disease, that is getting transferred to a second person. The person is not showing any symptoms, but is able to transfer that disease to a third person, then he is acting as a vector. Okay, person 1 is infected, symptoms are seen. Symptoms are seen. Person 2 is infected, no symptoms. This person is getting from person 1 and this third person is getting from person 2, and third person is infected and symptoms are seen. Symptoms are seen. So this person who is in middle is a vector because he is not infected with the disease. So sometimes human beings also act as vectors for certain diseases. So to prevent diseases, usually medicines are taken, and to cure diseases, usually medicines are taken, but to prevent the diseases, vaccination is taken. We'll discuss about immunization and vaccination in our next class.